What's up, guys? This is the CJ Murray podcast. We're going to make some music today. I got a few things in mind. I'm pretty pumped. We're listening to what we worked on last time. I'm pretty proud of it. And so, yeah, let's get to it. Before I jump into the meat of this video, there's a couple things that I want to take care of. The first of which is the automation on the shaper box being on. Because originally, if I go here, see how the pad's kind of varying? So we don't want to do that. So to turn the shaper box off, I'm going to click on this down arrow on the plugin. I'll click configure. I'll click the power button. And then, yeah, so now that's in the automation. I suppose the other way is you click on all parameters, shaper box 3, device on, and then of course I go to the drop. I want to leave that on, but before then it is off. And then I suppose I'll also take it off right not too long after that. Yeah, and it's back to what it was. Pretty cool. Actually, I clicked the wrong button. I had the device on, and what I really meant to go for was the master bypass. So if you look at the plugin right here, there we go. Another thing too that I want to fix is I was listening to the beginning and I heard the sidechain not come in quite as well. If you listen, it's not, I mean, you don't feel it right. But if you look at the threshold right here, see, there you go. See, that breathes so much better. You know what I mean? The problem is when you get to the main drop, see how the clap? So the clap right here is really cranking that down a lot because the threshold, it's pretty low. But because the threshold to the left over here for the kick is not as high, it's not putting it down as much. And while it needed to be there for the intro, it needed to really be lowered for the drop. So let's automate that. Now check out how this breathes. So much better. This brings me to the main point of this video that I'm wanting to get to, and it's the whistle. I want to look at it, so let's listen. Let's take all the effects off. I'm going to leave this utility because it's affecting everything after it, and I want to not deal with that right now, but I want the volume lower, so I'll put it at the end of the chain. It makes it easier to listen to. It's time to edit, so let's have a look here. Let's listen to this fade in. It doesn't cut off the best, so I'm going to fade that. I will also fade the beginning. Like so. My end goal, as far as this whistle is concerned, is I'm wanting to take it, or at least attempt to take it, or experiment to take it, from a reverbed out, cool thing that sits well as a melody to a rather upfront, clean melody. Before, I was using Nectar to pitch it, but I'm wanting to run this through Melodyne now, so let's do that. I'm looking at these pitches, and man, this might be harder than I thought. Let's see how it sounds while I'm looking at it. So the vibrato is really cool, but that will be a little hard to mess with. I'm just going to edit a little bit and we'll see how it comes out. Okay, so this is not with the timing fixed yet, but this is with the pitch. So check this out. I think one thing I'll do is, for right now, I don't think I'll remove the breaths, but I might quiet down some of them. So 1 second while I work on some of the timing. Let me add one really difficult challenge that I believe I'm going to find in editing the timing especially is I was listening to a podcast recently that was talking about human imperfections amid mixing decisions and editing with mixing in mind. This is the Master of the Mix podcast. And one thing he pointed out was if you leave something a bit unedited, that catches your attention a little more. And so if you want it to fall back in the mix, it's sometimes better to make it, I guess, more perfect. But in this case, however, there can be a lot of value to leaving it just a little off. But it's also in a drop. I mean, again, just listen. So yeah, I'm going to want to keep that in mind, but let's run with that for now. Let's go. So what I'm doing is I'm just paying very close attention to when the notes fall, and this can be deceptive because sometimes you see this blob and you think, oh, put the blob over to the line. But really, you also want to know on the curve down, sometimes that's really psychologically when the note kind of starts. So yeah, for the record, this is also the first time I've really edited a whistle tune like this, for just someone whistling live. So this is a new experience for me as well as for you, potentially. This note right here, I'm going to cut a bit in half. See how a lot of the slides up there, but if I bring it down there, oh, that did not sound good. Leave that the way it was. This is a huge breath. Oh my word, that was creepy. Yeah, let's take that down a bit. There you go. Perfect. I think what I'm really looking forward to just about this melody is it's so organic amid such a obviously synthesize heavy drop. It's just, man, it's so cool. For the vibrato on those long notes, I'm not really going to mess with, well, let me put that up a bit. And then, yeah, I think I'll just leave that as is. And again, bring this down. Something else that I will do is I'm going to take the vibrato note and just tame just a few of these. So you see how it's kind of in there? Just maybe that's unnecessary. Ooh, but I will cut this in half and then I will do that. Cool. So now with pitch, let's have a listen to what we've done. Let's go. Yeah, there's just a note or two that gets hidden a little too much. Yeah, that's good. Okay, I'm about to add a lot of effects, so I'm going to duplicate this whistle so that I retain the raw melodyne, because what's going to happen is I'm gonna do, I'm basically going to add effects or do foundational things, flatten it. So then when I start adding serious effects, I've saved processing memory. So we're going to title this Whistle Duplicate. Yeah, that'll get the job done. And since we have the duplicate that already retains what I was going for, I'm going to delete that huge effect chain that I had. I'm going to delete this utility. And The first thing I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use Soothe. Soothe has been advertised so many places, and it was only a matter of time before I caved. So here we are. But it's really good. It genuinely is really good. It takes, I mean, this is just a default preset. Here, let me play the melody. So for the delta, you hear how sharp that is? It's kind of annoying almost. So it just tames that. I mean, I might even just go with the default. It just tames it just enough. Let's do before and after again. Here's before. Here's with it. See, now it's bearable. Cool. Now, that alone, I'm going to put the utility after. Let's play it again. So just with that, I'm going to flatten this because, again, Melodyne and Soothe. Melodyne doesn't take up a whole lot, but for moving forward, I feel like this is a really, really solid start. Okay, now let's add, like, I don't know. Let's treat this almost like it's a vocal. Let's go total control. Yeah. Let me experiment with just a few other types of compressors that might even color the sound a bit more. Normally, you don't put an EQ at the beginning of a chain. At least that's not typically recommended. But in this case, I'm going to do multi-purpose EQs. So the first EQ is only meant to cut out the lows. And part of why I want to do that is I'm experimenting with an R bass to see if it'll add in some like lower frequency. This is just experimenting. Let's do before and after. And that does nothing. We're going to delete that. Okay, so just between those two effects, I grouped them together. Let's do before and after. This is before. And this is after. Before. After. Yeah, I mean, it's not a huge difference, but I think it'll help in the end. Okay, so here's with the channel strip in there. I ended up putting the Pro Q as well as this UAD Century Tube channel strip. And together you get this, and this is very compressed. But, you know, just with it being kind of louder, I think I'm going to put another Soothe over it because I want the volume, but it can't pierce you, you know, because if you get stabbed, you die. Ugh. Let's try this. Yeah, in fact, let's go to some of the other presets. So let's go, I mean, let's just do vocals. We don't want DS. Harsh Vox start. Yeah, that's a harsh start. Make it more sensitive and sharp. Just a bit less. Yeah, I like that. So that's super cool. I feel like we got, oh, you know what? Let's put just, yeah, you know, let's, I almost feel like it needs to be a little brighter. I do want to put on reverb or something along those lines because it really needs to fill the space way better than it is. Okay, so I added a mix bus And this difference is going to be so subtle, maybe no one will care, but I'm going to start with this off. So you're aware of how this sounds. Watch when I turn this on. So and in fact, and I put it before the Soothe plugin, more importantly, put the output just a little more. So it's making it a little brighter, but when the lows, and it's taking out a little of the mid range, but I mean, it's a very high pitched sound anyways. And then the upper mids, I should say lower highs, so to speak, it's expanded when it goes up. So it takes down when the sound isn't there. I'm not even I don't even fully, I mean, I understand it, but I'm not going to try to put it to words. It's 1% better. There you go, world. I've done it for my own benefit. Thank you for bearing with that. Anyways, before I start messing too much with that, I'm going to mess with the side chain that it's under. I have it labeled as 50% side chain. It's a little arbitrary. I just said 50 because it was like half as much, but here. Yeah, and well, what else is with it again? Electric bass. So really, there's nothing with it right now. Well, the volume needs to come down for certain. So there we go, Soothe. I think I'm content with the volume that's going into Soothe. So let's, does this have a trim? This does not have a trim and it doesn't go negative. So I guess I'm putting a utility after the Valhalla to preserve the signal chain integrity. It's a good thing. It's so subtle by that point. I mean, I think it was Andrew Wong that said he knows a mix is done when you're adjusting it by a decibel or less. Then you know that, yeah, no one's going to care. But I care. Yeah. Okay, time to play with some reverb. So a really interesting note as far as the reverb not being a send as opposed to it being in the chain within the channel is that when it's within the channel, it's side chained with everything else. So, yeah, that's what's going on. Okay, so I whipped out the Pure Plate Reverb by UAD. I don't know if the deal is still going on, but they had a really good deal on a bundle, and this was in it, and it was like the best. Was it $50 that I spent? So just so you can fully appreciate what this reverb is doing to the audio, I'm going to put it on pure wet. I'm decreasing the reverb time so it's not getting too confuddled. This is an interesting strategy that I'm just talking this through as I'm doing it. So if it's too convoluted when it's purely wet, it's probably going to mess things up a little bit when you have mostly dry with the wet. You want it to add something, but you don't want it to mess up what's in the background. Clarity is very interesting. Let's play with it some more. I love the reverb. It's really natural. And what's really neat, I guess, interesting about what's going on is the reverb. It's very natural because it's a good plugin, but because it's being sidechained with everything else, it maintains that electronic EDM clarity that you would expect. So I just love the blend of the organic with EDM. It's super dope, super cool. Also, by this point, my computer hates me. You can see I guess I don't have much lag anymore, but I am taking up a lot of processing memory by this point with this. You can see why I made a copy from before. Probably should have frozen that, to be honest with you. Yeah, okay, what else do I want to do? Okay, so tell you what, since I'm using up so much computer memory, I'm going to freeze the original duplicate because I don't think I want to get rid of that, but because of what I'm about to do, I might negate that just a little bit. So I'm going to make another duplicate. I'm going to call it whistle other duplicate, I guess. I'm not going to freeze it yet, but I will freeze it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete everything up to, I want to keep all that. I want to keep it. I'm going to delete everything up to the utility and the ending reverb. And then I'm going to flatten, I'm going to freeze and flatten that. Okay, so first of all, I just got to point out, look at, here, let me see if I can blow this up. Just look at the audio difference, just from sheer compression, the difference between the two. But what's really neat about it though, is look how consistent it is. And better yet, you don't see distortion. Not that you can necessarily see most distortion. You can't, I mean, if it's flat at the top, you messed up. You don't want to do that typically. So that's good. So now I saved all that processing power, going to copy paste the reverb and utility onto what I just made. And then I'm going to freeze the duplicate track. So if I have to backtrack, I still have that right there. That's taking a long time to freeze, by the way. And because I don't care about these guys for right now, though I do care, is I'm going to put them in the abandoned because I don't care about them right now. Bye, abandoned. Okay, cool. So now I just got this. Let's play it again. What? I had a couple of these playing at the same time, even after they went to the abandoned. So yeah. Okay, so the attack and the ratio have a little. They're very different, but in this application, they're similar. So I originally had the attack at what? It was like 21 milliseconds. So listen to the intro right here. So you can hardly hear what's going on when it does that, but if I rather... The da-da-da, oh, can't even do the pitch. When it hits that lower note, right when the kick hits, you want that small note to still come through. You know what I'm saying? It has to... Right there, it's... Yeah, it's... Man, that's subtle. So this is me going through some stereo presets on the Doubler 4. Never used this before, but just listen to what it's doing to it. Interesting. Intriguing. Well, if you couldn't tell by now, I'm not going with this plugin. Nope. Okay, so this plugin has literally no relevance to what I'll actually use, but it's so unique though. Isn't that so weird? But that's so cool though. Okay, so I opened this plugin called Doubler, and what am I looking at? So cool. But I want like a gain or something. Where is there a gain? Okay, so for this plugin, what I'm really looking at doing is not so much not a plugin on the track. It would have to be a return, because then you can send it to that. Okay, so see, there's actually nothing there. So I'm gonna go to the whistle. Just such a weirdly designed plugin. My word. I'm gonna put it on track C, and then yeah, let's do 50, and then should be good. Gonna doubler, convolution, reverb. Let's just color them all blue because I'm that way. Okay, cool. Okay, here's a really interesting thing. So when I put the send on this whistle, the doubler isn't going with the side chain because it's not in that group. So I'm actually gonna copy this compressor and then put it on this. And then I think that, I'm gonna put this down even further and maybe even take the attack off entirely. Well, let's see this. Man, I know the difference is there. I don't know. Here, let me put this send up the whole way. So now it's really obvious. Let's take it down lower. Let's excuse me. Let's take it off. Oh, so that's going to the kick. Oh, it's not being sidechained by the clap. Interesting. So maybe I want it that way though. So I copy pasted it to the original whistle as well as the clap. Let's listen. Wow, that just drains the life out of that clap. I don't even know how to feel about that. That is just crazy. Okay, so let's take that off a bit, you know. Let's relax. Everyone just relax. Where's this? And then for this, man, that just as one would say, that smacks. So man, it's kind of cool though. It's interesting how the kick doesn't take it down the whole way, but the clap just drains it. What I think works about this is that the clap, all the notes that precede the clap, like since it hits before the clap, you know the note's there. But the kick kind of lines up with a lot of the notes that hit on the downbeat. And so that's kind of what retains the integrity of the melody that you're supposed to hear. I don't think I want it to go down the entire way. No. Oh, I think the reverb needs to come down a bit. Ugh. What if we drained the treble out of that? See how that high, the high frequencies, so different. Actually adds a bit more distinction between the two. Well, let's go back to the doubler with the compressor. Oh, that's just so cool. So cool. I need to listen to it again. This is a very unintended pause, but where's my video screen go? There it is again. This is my means of posting reels and content so people can care. It's okay. There's people to care. I care. This is fun. I don't need a lot of people. I had someone comment the other day. That was pretty cool. Let's go. dope. So dope. This is the part where I do the outro. So I'm going to turn these things on. I believe that this should work. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode. This was super dope, super cool. I love this. Oh, it's such a vibe. Anyways, thanks for listening, guys, and enjoy.